Hello, today I'm going to do a review of the Women's Success Choice organizational system. I have all of the components that were offered on the website, and so I would just like to show them to you today. The first thing is the leather binder cover. It's beautiful leather. It's about 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch thick, and it measures 9 1/4 inches tall by 6 1/4 inches wide, so it's kind of large. I don't carry this around in my bag. I keep this as my desk planner, and it's really beautiful quality leather. You can see marks when it gets scratched, but that doesn't bother me because then it looks just kind of worn in, and it's really pretty. This is the company's logo embossed here, and you can see it has nice stitching. It's very heavy duty and it's very soft and flexible. It comes with a couple of options. You can get the closure with this, this slide through closure, or you can get an elastic band that wraps around the front. I bought this because I liked the way that this looked, but this isn't very functional for me. It's kind of difficult to get this little flap through the slot. It doesn't bother me because I use it as a desk planner, and so it pretty much stays open all the time, but I think if I were to buy it again, I would buy it with that elastic closure. You can buy this to fit the spiral bound system they have, or you can get one that has rings in it, and then you can buy a loose leaf system, and that will fit those. I prefer spiral bound, so that's what I'm going to show you. Included in the binder is a ribbon bookmark so that you can mark the day that's sewn into the cover. It also has a really excellent pen loop that's elastic. It fits every single pen that I've tried to put in there. This is a Retro 51, and so it's kind of a large pen, and I can easily slide it into that, or you can just clip your pen on the side. Inside the leather binder, you can see this is kind of the setup. You can have the planner on this side, and then I also bought the address book that goes on this side. In the binder, these just slip in, and you can see that there's a large flap here. It just slips in there. You could also attach some sort of like a notebook here if you wanted to. There's a card slot down here. I'll put like paper clips or maybe a post-it or something like that in there. I used to store stickers and things back here. I don't really do that anymore. On the other side, you can see that the address book slides into this slot. There are also a couple of other slots. I have a little notepad here that fits into the top slot. This slot is large enough for you to put your checkbook in if you wanted to carry it in there. And then there's another card slot at the bottom. This is the binder for the spiral bound. Otherwise it would have rings down here. It's very soft and flexible, as you can see. I can fold it in half, but it's a thick leather. It's high quality, nice stitching. I've been using this system for over a year, and I'm really happy with it. As far as comprehensive systems go, I think this is it. And I'll show you the features of the inside of the binder here in just a second. So one of the things that's optional to buy is their address book. And normally with a planner, it'll have an address section. I don't like loose leaf binders because it's too much. I would much rather have everything all in one. I don't want to have to think about where I'm putting things, how I'm organizing it. I would like somebody to organize it for me, and then I can kind of conform to their system. I've tried Franklin Covey, I've tried At a Glance, tried all of those things, and I really have found that I definitely prefer this one. So I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of what's in the address book, but one of the things I like about this is no matter how many years you're using it, this address book can go in every single one, so you never have to recopy those addresses. And it's very thin so that you can see it's not going to get in the way, and you can carry this if you need to. I'm not going to show this up close because I have personal stuff, but on this side they even have a list of commonly misspelled words for you, so it has lots of reference material in this binder. There's a section for, I will cover this up, well, I can't really, frequent or emergency contacts, quick references like for any kind of allergies you have, ink refill model numbers for printers, furnace refills, tire sizes, the oil type, the filter type that you get, a list of phone numbers for all of your doctors. There's a loss recovery section where you can list all of your different credit card and utility company, auto insurance companies, and all of their phone numbers, so that, and this isn't really that personal down here because it's pretty general, so that if you were to lose any of these things or you need to call these companies, you have all of their numbers right there. It's super convenient. Then on the other side, there's a page for rewards programs where you can list the company, what type of rewards, their phone number, your card number. There's a section for personal information for different people. I can show you this side. It has a place for name, sizes, important information, and birthday, so that you can always have that information at hand. So if you want to buy somebody a gift, you don't really have to ask them about specifics. Here is another section for detailed information. So somebody's name, and then you can list whatever kinds of things you want. They give you some suggestions at the top about like school information, activities, phone numbers, employee information, medical information. I list medications that my husband and I take, so in case I ever need it, I could bring this to the doctor with me, and I would have all of the doses and everything there. Then there are contact pages, and they give you about 4 contact pages for each letter of the alphabet. There's not a tabbed section, but at the top, it's kind of hard to hear, it's listed like these are your A through B contacts. So for each section, I really like this because it's quite comprehensive. I know it's hard to see, but it has name, address, email, IM or other ID, their website or blog address, their birthdays and their anniversary dates, any notes about them, their work phone number, home phone number, mobile phone number. There's also a spot for another number, maybe fax. And I love this part. It says relation. So if my husband ever has to use the address book, he'll know how these people are related. Are they the coworker, colleague, my aunt, whoever? You have lots of information. And so there's, I believe it's 4 pages for each 2 letters of the alphabet. And the paper quality is excellent. You can write with any kind of pen, and it is not going to even show through at all. It's not going to bleed through. You'll never see anything through it. It's fantastic paper. That's definitely one thing I have to say about this binder. The paper is incredible. For annual reminders, I guess I have to kind of hold this far away. This is for birthdays, anniversaries, special events. There's a box for each month, and then you can list names and dates so that you will always know without putting it in your calendar every year, like this month, it's this person's birthday or this person's anniversary. This section is also really cool. It's labeled gift ideas, and in those boxes it has name, and then you can list their name, what gifts you've given them, or what gifts you are thinking about giving them if you find something for their birthday or whatever. And then there's spaces for you to list what date you actually gave it to them on, so you can keep track of those things. Then on the back, I should probably use this. There's a section for vehicle repair log, and it has what's your vehicle, the repair description, part cost, etc. What was your odometer reading at the time, and the date of that. And there's also there's 2 vehicle sections for that. Should really use that. Then on the back, I can't show you these pages because they have personal information. Oh, I can show you right here. It just says at the top, customize, and it says logs, research topics, quick meals, ingredients, etc. And it has 3 columns. I use this for passwords, emergency procedures, certain websites that I use a lot, different voicemail systems that I need to keep track of, and they give you 3 pages of these. Then on the other side is a list of books to read and comments, like the dates you read them or etc. I teach AP literature, so I don't really need to list all those books because I read a lot. Then on the back page, there's a section for movies to see, restaurants that you like and their phone number, date night ideas, vacation ideas, and dates maybe that you've taken them or that you'd like to take them. On the very back cover, there's a conversion table for length, weight, temperature, volume, all different kinds, and then how to reorder, and that's their website, www.thesuccesschoice.com. So this is a really comprehensive address book. I love it. I've been using it for years, and sometimes I'll just pull it out if I need to and take this with me because it's so thin and compact and it fits so much information. So that, I think, is definitely something you would want to buy if you're looking at getting this system. And it just slides right in the back. The next thing that I will show you is the planner system. So I prefer spiral bound. I just don't want to have to deal with the rings and putting different things in them. I just like it to be all in one spot in case I need to just pull this with me and go. So they break it up into 4 quarters so that you don't have a whole year's worth. You can see there's a lot. You wouldn't want a whole year's worth in one binder, but you can keep these and they're nice and neat and it's easy to archive them. So each one is a different color and it's labeled like this is first quarter, January, February, March 2013. And so for every 3 months you get a new one. Each quarter is a little bit different, and so I wanted to kind of show you that. One of the things that I like to do is I like to, of course, use the Martha Stewart tabs that everybody likes, but I will mark the month and then, it's really hard to see, weekly to-dos and then my week tab. And when you order it, it's really cool because they'll give you a little paper clip and they've clipped it to the exact time that you should be starting to use your planner. So you can order it any quarter that you want to start, and it's not like you have to order it at the beginning of the year and then you've missed, you know, a quarter of the year. You can start using this anytime you want and they'll send you the appropriate quarter, and then you haven't wasted, you know, a half of a planner or a third of a planner or whatever. Inside, and the spiral is excellent. The little papers don't come out of the rings. I like it. Inside it gives you instructions about, or suggestions rather, how to use the planner. I love to read instructions for everything. It's continued on the back cover. And I would say that even if you only read it once, it gives you really good ideas for organization, goal setting. This planner is really great for a comprehensive system for all of that. And so especially if you're a person that wants a lot of direction, you want to have everything laid out for you. Things that you didn't even think you needed to plan for, think about. It's all in here for you. So this is the first page. They give you a spot for, if you find it, call this name and number. And then on the inside is a calendar for the previous year, current year, and this year. And then at the beginning of each month, there's a notes creativity page where it's just a blank page and you can do whatever you want on that blank page. Draw, take notes, whatever. Then I'll kind of hold this away so you can't see it that great, but there's, at the beginning of the year, there's a 2013 year goal planning. So I love to goal plan and then like revisit my goals because it just helps to remind me, what am I working for? What am I trying to accomplish? So they give you a brainstorming section. What do you wish you would stop doing? What would you like to start doing? If you could change 7 things, what would they be? If you could guarantee your success in 3 pursuits, what would they be? What are your largest time wasters? It talks about balancing your life. Then on this side, it gives you a list for spirituality and values, emotional fitness, health and physical fitness, educational, relationships, family, financial, self-reliance, service, helping others, and simplifying, beautifying. That's kind of the these different parts of the petal on the flower are those different areas of your life that you're trying to find balance in and set goals for. And so you write them out, and it's very directed. It tells you how to do goal setting that I really liked. I find myself revisiting this page every month. And then you have a vision for yourself. And then it tells you, okay, so now you're going to go and try to make the next steps a reality. So this was the first of the year. You just kind of sit down and plan out all your goals for that year. Then you have another creativity planning page where you can do whatever you want on it. And then we start the month. So the paper in this, again, I just can't talk about how excellent it is. This is almost like, feels like as thick as a cereal box. It's cardboard. These are the beginnings of each month, and so I'll tab it at the top. And so it will give you a focus for that month. Like this one was Discover Your Talents. And it always gives you lots of inspirational quotes. It gives you things that you would never even think about that you need to do every month. And so it will give you ideas. to do in the yard or with your car, and then to do in your house, who you can delegate it to and check box, and of course there's empties for you. And then an ongoing task list and who you're going to delegate that to. At the bottom, I love this. It tells you what fruits and vegetables are in season. So even though the grocery store carries things all year round from all over the world, if you'd like to try to buy locally, this is what's in season. Or if you want to plant things in your own garden, this is what's in season. So even if I may not use all of this every month, I love just being able to read through the suggestions, like stuff like take down holiday decorations, organize your closets, give away unwanted items, clean the picture frames, lampshades, and light fixtures, wash out your refrigerator, replace your baking soda in your refrigerator and your freezer, pay your bills in your yard. Maybe you want to plant a vegetable garden on paper, plan it out, order your seeds, and then you can do whatever you want over here. So stuff that I wouldn't even think of, but that needs to be done, like replacing my baking soda. Thanks, Success Choice Planner, for reminding me of that. Then you open up and it's a month on 2 pages, and these are really large squares. They're about 1 1/4 inches by 1 1/4 inches. And they're lined, which I really like. And they have, of course, all the holidays delineated on there. There's a bottom with quite a few lines for notes. And then there's always something at the top where it talks about focusing on discovering your talents, which was from before, and giving you an inspirational quote. And on the side, it gives you some ideas for maybe that week if you want to try something different, like make a list of things you look forward to doing, or ask 3 friends what they think your talents are, or what were your passions when you were a kid, what did you want to be. And these have to do with the goals that they kind of set for you each month. On the next page, on the back of each month, so it gives you a section. So the first part was planning your goals for the year. Now if you have to plan those into really small goals, how would you do that, like step by step? So it takes those same 8 areas of your life, spirituality, all the way to simplifying and beautifying things, and it gives you a section for you to write out what are you going to do specifically to start working towards those goals that you planned earlier. And then it gives you the focus for the month, like discovering your talents. Well, what can you do to discover your talents? And what are some of your very personal goals that may not relate to the ones on this side, but things that you just have goals for yourself? Then it talks more about discovering your talents in depth, because that's the focus for the month. And this part will change. Both of these will change depending on what the month is, but this one is on traditions. And it gives you ideas of, what kind of traditions can you start in your family. This is really a comprehensive binder. I think it's geared, well, it's called the Women's Success Choice Planner, so obviously it's geared towards women, and I think women that are, have children and a job and all of that. So it kind of gives you ideas for things, not just for yourself, but for your family as well. The next page, every week has one of these, so that was the month. Every month has one of those sections, and then behind that are, every week they have a weekly to-do page that starts that week's pages. So it'll give you the date at the top. Then you have a major purpose for that week. What is your personal purpose for that week? Then there's a section which I love, which is weekly personal goals and tasks. It tells you what to do. It tells you, or you make a list of what to do with check boxes, and we all love to check things off because that makes us feel accomplished. You can have a section to delegate those tasks. Over here, she gives you a list of every week tasks, which is excellent because sometimes it's hard to remember these things, like cleaning the leftovers out of the refrigerator and who you're going to delegate that to. Just a good reminder. Mopping the floors, vacuuming the carpets, deep cleaning the bathrooms, doing the laundry, dusting. If you use the Fly Lady system, this works so well with it because it's like you have half of the control journal already in here. You just have to kind of fill in some of the rest of it. I love also at the bottom, I mean, really when I say comprehensive, this is a comprehensive planner. It has everything I could ever think of that I wanted and more, because she reminds me things like checking my tire pressure and car fluid levels. I wouldn't remember that without this. So the menu planner, each day, what's your plan for that week, for your meals, and a shopping list. Even though I don't bring this planner with me to the grocery store, as my husband will say, we're running out of something, or we need something, or I think of it right after I've made dinner or whatever, I'll list it here and then I'll make my grocery list from here. Then when you open to the next page, it's a week on 3 pages. So how it's laid out is you have a block for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You turn it over. Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you get a half a column. On each of the pages, gives you the date at the top, the date across the top, sorry, the week's date at the top, the date across the top. It gives you a calendar from the month before, the current month, and the next month. And it breaks it up into AM and PM if you want to use that. There are actually 2 columns of lines that are split in the middle, but you can just write straight across. They list the holidays there. This is where I list my daily to-dos, and then I check them off as I do them. I don't really worry about AM and PM too much because I don't have to do that with my schedule. Then at the bottom, there's 2 sections. These have little check marks here, and there's 2 columns of those. This is where I keep a list of the food that I'm eating, and if I have to, at the bottom, there's 2 sections for phone calls. I don't really worry about that. I put that more at the top, so I put whatever I want here, and it's basically little check boxes that you can list off. Then what's really cool at the bottom is she has a section for water where you can mark off the 8 cups of water that you've drank a day, your 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. I believe she has this marked as a little heart for exercise. I use that to mark, did I take my pills that day? And then she has 2 extra sections down here for whatever you want to put. This little flower area, you can put whatever you want in there. She does give you a key at the bottom. She says like water, fruits and vegetables, exercise, and then you personalize that section. So whatever you want to fill out down here. I was listing like a gratitude journal, like 3 things I was grateful for sometimes. If I wasn't feeling good that day or whatever, I'll list that there. And then at the bottom she has these 8 circles, which again, it's stuff that you wouldn't think of, but when you mark all this stuff every day, it really does make you feel accomplished, especially if it's not like you're doing all these tasks that you need to keep track of because of time or scheduling, but just the things you do every day so that you can realize, yeah, I did do a lot that day. And at the bottom, you could always change it, but she has them coded down here, like, did you make your bed? Well, I didn't. Did you pick up clutter? Did you sort the mail? Did you empty the trash? Wash the dishes, wipe up spills, sweep, and then the last one you can customize to whatever you want. And so even if you feel like you're not really doing a whole lot, you're just doing things around the house, you can always mark those off and then feel like you actually did something, like you're accomplished. She has keys down here for the tasks. This section you could prioritize it with 1, 2, or 3. I just use it, like I said, as a food journal, but I mean you can do whatever you want. I like that she has structure built into it, and she has directions, and she has tips for things that you can do, but I also like that it's non-invasive. It's all sort of listed at the bottom, and she's, marked it all off, but you can really do whatever you want with the planner. I find that I change it depending on what I need, and so far it's working really great. At the top of each of these, she has a really nice inspirational quote for you. Lots of that is in the journal, the planner. And then here's the weekend, and again, Saturday and Sunday have to share a column, which is okay, I guess. Then there's a notes section every week on the back, and it's just a full page that you can fill out with whatever you want. You can journal. It says journal insights, quotes, dreams, events, contacts, plans, designs, details, meetings, etc. And I find that I really like keeping notes on this section for whatever happened for that week, because then I have some sort of time frame for those notes. This was when I was looking up tips on frugality and helping the environment and things that I would like to do in my house in order to accomplish those goals. Then at the end of each week, there is a week review, and at the top, I love this part because it just requires, even if you don't journal every day, it requires you to reflect on what worked well this week, what didn't, what did you learn, and what should you eliminate or delegate. And so I always try to do this at the end of the week because it just kind of helps me decompress the week and really reflect on what I'm doing and what I can do better and what can I continue to do to make my life easier. Then this section is for insights, fortunate events, and Thanksgiving. And so this is like, what are you grateful for? And then at the bottom is room for more notes, expenses, or journal, or mileage. I was thinking of planting a garden, and these were the vegetables I would like to plant. So you can kind of do whatever you want with these sections, but if you want some direction about thinking about how did you meet your goals or what could you do better, this is there for every week. Then you turn the page, and we're back to the weekly to-do. So there's one for every week, and then you have, of course, your week on 3 pages, and then your notes section where you can doodle or whatever. End of the week review. Again, you can fill it out as much as you want or as little as you want. I started taking a personal finance class online, and so I was taking my notes each week for the class's lessons. That proved to be incredibly helpful to have them all in one place. And little stickers make it interesting. Any kind of pen never bleeds through this paper. It's so nice and heavy. It's beautiful. One thing to note, at the bottom she has each page labeled with a page number, like quarter 1, page 33, because in the back there's a table of contents section, so you can create your own reference, which I think is really cool. That was very helpful when I was doing my online course, because I knew exactly what week I needed to turn to on what page. So then at the end of each month, not only do they have the end of the week review, but then they have a log that you can fill in. So noteworthy events each month, successes, and lessons learned. And I really love doing this because, again, it's constantly going back and reflecting on what's happened, what's working for you, what you need to change, and things to be thankful for, things that were important. So even if you don't keep like a thorough journal, this is actually a really nice way to keep a journal that doesn't feel like you have to do it every day, or it gives you some direction, and it reminds you to think about your goals and what things you should be grateful for, which I think are always good things that we should be reminded of that we don't always think of. Then you turn to the next month. There's the notes creativity page that's totally blank, and then it starts with the monthly to-do tasks. There's a different focus for that. She changes, like inspect the balance and rotate car tires. Wouldn't have thought of that. Decorate for Valentine's Day. Organize the food pantry and cupboards in your house. Throw out old food in the freezer. Change your furnace filter. Wash out your trash bins. Wash your stove's vent hood filter. These are just things that you need to remember, but you probably don't. And then she updates what fruits and vegetables are in season. Then again, you have your month on 2 pages. A new focus where you can revisit those 8 areas of your life to create balance, discovering your strengths, traditions, focusing on discovering your strength, how are you going to do that, and what are your personal goals this time. And then we go back to the same format. She gives you this little paper clip so that you can mark in your book where you are. So the same format repeats itself. I like to keep these tabs at the top for month, weekly to do, and then, it's hard to see, month, weekly to do, and week, so I can just flip directly to the page. So at the end of the quarter, there is a section for every month for the rest of the year, and it's a little square, but it's ample enough. It's about what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch wide by about 1 1/8 of an inch tall. And there's a section for notes at the bottom, so that if you just need to schedule appointments ahead, or you want to remind yourself to pay rent every month, you can do that. And there's one for each month for the rest of the year. Then there's a section for future planning, where she's listed the calendar for the entire for the entire year, each month next year, and where you can note dates for that next year if you're that far ahead in your planning. Then at the very back, there's a section for notes. She lists books to read, movies to see, recommended restaurants, date activity ideas, plans, designs, details, expenses, mileage, etc. You can keep track of whatever you want on these. And she gives you another notes page to keep track of whatever you like. Another notes page. These are all at the back. And I find, like, if I'm writing down quotes I like, I'll just cut the page out and save it for the next planner. And then at the back is where you can create your index. So she's got the page numbers labeled, and you can just list them there and give a summary or an event or a quote, anything that you'd like to index in your notes. Then there's a section that comes already in the bound binder, and I'm sure you can get it in the loose leaf, for 4 business cards. So you can list them, you can have them here, and you can actually have 8 because you can double stack them. Every one of the bound planners has a little plastic pocket in the back. That's where I keep old quotes and any important papers that I need. And that's the general layout of each quarter. At the beginning of each quarter, it's a little different, so I just kind of wanted to show you that. That's first quarter, so since it's the first part of the year, you had your goal planning for that part of the year. Second quarter has a growth plan, so you start looking at what kind of habits are you doing that related to your goal planning for the year, and reflecting on those. What do you continue to do that you need to change? What are some triggers for that? What are some healthy alternatives for bad habits you might have? Creating success statements and really creating plans for yourself to help you meet those goals. So I love that about this, because it's just constantly going back to setting goals and reflecting on them, because once we set goals, it doesn't really matter if you set them. If you never revisit them, what's the point? And of course, at the end, there's always a log for each month. And the format is basically the same in all of them. There's the card holder again, the plastic page, and the index. For third quarter, at the beginning of third quarter, she has mid-year planning. So what's your vision and now your new goal status for the goals that you've set for that year? What are some roadblocks and ideas that you have for overcoming them? What are some steps you can take? It's super directed, which I really like. And of course, each of these changes, like weed your garden as needed, deadhead the flowers, cut back the perennials, etc. And then the last quarter of the year, at the beginning, has your end of the year review. So what are some highlights? What were some of the best experiences, events that you had for the year with your family, work, friends, personal world, etc.? And what were some learning experiences that you had? What were your main learning experiences, both positive and negative? So just a way to reflect back on your whole year. How did you meet your goals? Did you? What can you do better? And this last one goes through with the forward planning. Even though this is for 2013, the forward planning section has a month page for every month of 2014, which is really cool, because it's like you get a little bonus calendar. And then there's a future planning page for 2015. And you have your notes section and your index. So I know this is a very long video, but this is a really comprehensive system that I've really enjoyed using. I switched through quite a few different systems, and I found that I just really love this one the most, because it's all together nice and neat. Everything I could think of and more, and it's really customizable, even though it's quite directed. So if you have any questions, you can leave a comment. Otherwise, I hope that you found this very helpful. I know that when I was looking for planners, there weren't, I think I maybe found 2 that reviewed this particular system, and they weren't very in-depth, and I really wanted to know what was in this planner. And it's just phenomenal, especially for the people that can't just look at the blank page and know what are all the things they need to plan out. This gives you so many ideas. Whether you use them or not, they're there for you to use. So I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.